So, are you sick of anything? Is there something that your soul is sick and tired of? I hope there is, and I hope the thing that you are sick and tired of is sin and evil. I hope you do not like the expressions of evil that show up in your life, that show up around you. I hope you are sick of it. That is an example for us to follow that we see from the psalmist today, particularly in Psalm 123. This is our example to follow. But as always, I encourage you, push pause if you've not read this already. Read Psalm 123, 124, 125, and see if you can find for yourself a space, a sin to avoid, promise to claim, attitude to change, command to obey, or an example to follow. It may not be my own. The Lord may have something else for you, particularly today. So let us get into the my personal space, an example for us to follow. It begins actually with an attitude. 123 says, "To you I lift up my eyes. Oh, you who are enthroned in the heavens." We need to remember that God is in charge and he is absolutely sick of evil. He hates bad things and he is in charge and is going to get rid of them. So when you hate bad things, you are in line with the great God above who is enthroned in the heavens, who is in charge, who is reigning supreme over everything, and going to get rid of evil and wrongdoing and going to punish it. So remember that. And so here's where I get this sickness of. Verse 4 says, "Our soul has had more than enough of the scorn of those who are at ease, of the contempt of the proud." What the psalmist has had enough of, what I say being sick of, the psalmist is sick of the scorn of those who are just lazy and making fun and jeering at others, and then the contempt of the proud to think they have it all together. This is evil. These are bad things. And we can think of other horrendous evil things. And so when you are sick of evil, when you are sick of bad things, you are in line with the great king who is enthroned in heaven. So this is an example for us to follow, is to be sick of evil. 124 goes on to say that in the midst of all of this evil, those people that are against us, the psalmist says in verse 2, "If it had not been the Lord who was on our side when people rose up against us, when evil happened, if it wasn't for the Lord who was on our side, what would have happened to us? Then they would have swallowed us up alive. When their anger was kindled against us, we would have been in trouble. Then over us would have gone the raging waters." If the Lord was not on our side, we would be in so much trouble. Evil would actually win, but we know that is not the case. God is enthroned in heaven above, and evil is not going to win. God is on our side. A good attitude for us to adopt is that when we see this evil that's all around us, when we get sick of it, God is promising to be with us and to win at the very end. And finally, here is a promise in line of all of these things of where my mind is going. 125 verse 1 says, "Those who trust in the Lord are what? Are like Mount Zion, the big mountain on which Jerusalem was built. The temple itself was built on Mount Zion." So if you trust like the Lord, you are like the habitation. You are like the home of God, which cannot be moved, but abides forever. And always when I think of Mount Zion, when I think of Jerusalem, I think of the heavenly Mount Zion in Jerusalem. What Psalm 123 said, that God sits enthroned in the heavens. And we're told at the end of the Bible that this heavenly Jerusalem will come down like a bride prepared for her husband, coming down like a bride on her wedding day. Beautiful city, eternal city, that city Jesus says he goes and prepares for us. So that, if you trust in the Lord, you're like heaven. You are like that eternal Mount Zion that's never going to go away. So trust in the Lord. And when you hate evil and you follow that example, then realize that your desires are being in line with the great God who is in charge of everything and who's going to make it all happen. There it says, "But those who turn aside to their crooked ways, the Lord will lead away with evildoers. They're going to be taken care of. Peace be upon Israel." I pray that's been a blessing to you. I'll see you in the next video.